I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your cattle market summary for the week ending August the 3rd, where the whole deal was kind of a board game. Actually, it was just everybody was watching the board to see what fat cattle market was going to do. You can pretty much peg that depending on the trend of the board, but not necessarily by the price that it quotes. The price that it quotes may or may not have anything to do with what fat cattle are worth, but you can kind of gauge the way things are going to go just by looking at the change, whether it's up and down or how much. But your fat cattle sellers kind of worked through that and showed a lot of patience and waited and waited and waited, and we ended up being paid off big time on Friday with a higher market, where it was looking like it was going to be weak to lower all week long until we got into Friday and the board was up. So things turned out good. So we had a board game winner for our cattle feeders that had cattle to sell this past week. Let's look at the way that the board turned out. October live cattle, Monday was down 67, Tuesday down 50, Wednesday took most all that back, up 97 cents, Thursday down 32 cents, and we still at that point hadn't had any fat cattle trade, and it was looking like maybe $1.11 was going to do the best. But then Friday, your live cattle futures were up big. October was up $2.05. Your August was up $2.07. That turned everything around and caused your fat cattle market to trade probably $3 better than what we had hoped at that point. But October live cattle ended the week at 112 even, up $1.53 for the week. Your August spot market ended the week at 110.67. It was up $2.05 for the week, but ended up still having a $3 plus basis as we're well into August now. So, and like I've said several times in the last few visits, normally you start getting into these fall and early winter months, but August many times would not have a basis, and in fact maybe a negative basis, what it's used to. But now everybody's just getting into that mode, and that's where we're sitting with a $3.30 basis there. October feeder cattle, Monday was down 97, Tuesday down $1.82, very volatile. Wednesday back up $2.27, and that's what kind of turned your feeder cattle auctions around from the midweek on, was your big gains on Wednesday. Thursday down 62 cents, and Friday back up $1.42 with help from your live cattle contracts. But October feeder cattle ended the week at 153.02. That was up just 27 cents for the week. Your August spot feeder cattle contract ended the week at 152.82, up 55 cents for the week. And I already talked a little bit about the fat cattle trade, but through Thursday of last week, we had only sold 12,500 head of direct negotiated fat cattle in your 5-area feeding region, mostly at $1.10. There was $1.10 a quarter here and some off sales at 109, but for the most part it was all $1.10, and it seemed that your packers were just determined to keep that at $1.10. But your cattle sellers would not do that. They knew that the previous week had been kind of a light volume, and they felt like the packers needed to come in and buy some product, buy some cattle to hang on the hooks and to get some product moving through the system, because we know that they've sold a lot of product for out front. We know that they're making close to $200 a head on those, every one that they put through the plant, so why wouldn't they want to step it up as much as possible? But $1.10 wasn't quite doing it as far as coaxing anybody to sell cattle. But 174 to 175 dressed was about the best they could do, and both of those quotes would have been $2 lower compared to the previous week. Friday morning, your board opens up higher. Everybody's in a brand new world. All of a sudden, late Thursday, we had heard of some $1.11 bids. I thought maybe that would trade some cattle. It really wasn't a $1.11 bid to come to find out. It was a, would you take $1.11 if I called in for it? which doesn't really coax anybody to do anything. It just makes everybody show their hand. So with no trade on late Thursday, Friday morning the board's up big. All of a sudden your cattle feeders get pretty cocky and they hold out for $1.14, and here it comes. And $1.14 in most all your 5 area feeding regions. Iowa was a little bit off of that, 112 to 113. They've kind of gotten backed up a little bit. That 1 week, the week before last, when we didn't have hardly any dress trade at all, some of your Iowa guys that had cattle on the show list that were sure ready to go didn't end up getting them gone, so they were backed up a little bit up there, and many times they trade $1 back or so, but that's kind of where they were this past week. But that $1.14 was $2 higher. Most of the dress trade in Nebraska was 178 to 180, $2 to $3 higher. So we've got a lot of good things to look forward to as we move into this week. Box beef cutout values have kind of been just lackluster the last 3 or 4 weeks, just kind of hanging in there, although we have found some bottom side support. There's sure no bounce in that dressed meat market. But choice cuts, your average trade for last week, 204.26, down 57 cents compared to the weighted average of the previous week. And select cuts, the average trade last week, 197.63, down 39 cents in comparison. Choice select spread's pretty narrow at $6.63. Your slaughter was a little bit disappointing last week, and you'd think the Packers would really want to step on that a little more when they're making money. Oh, why wouldn't they? But 626,000 for last week, which was 14,000 less than the previous week and just 4,000 less than the same week a year ago. But things to be bullish about our beef cow slaughter, not considering dairy cows, but our beef cow slaughter has really been ramped up with so much of the Midwest, right in your heartland, being dry and short of pond water and short of hay and things like that. A lot of those guys bringing cows to town, culling really deep. Everybody's culling pretty deep, and nobody seems to be keeping much back. But our beef cow slaughter year to date is up 10.7% over last year. That is significant. And if you look over the last 5-year average, our beef cow slaughter is up 12.7%. So guys, just really think about that. That is definitely going to make an impact. And we're not quite to the levels that led to the all-time record prices that we saw in 2013 and 2014, but we're not far from them. But the trend of being so much up on your beef cow slaughter is definitely what led to our all-time record prices there a few years back. Heifer slaughter has also been big. We knew we had 7% more heifers on feed going into the spring and summer months there than we had the previous year. And we've sure seen that in your heifer slaughter. And I've noted that some of your big video sales, which is the best way to kind of see what guys are going to do with their strings of calves, you see them selling just about as many heifers as they do steer calves. So a lot of your big ranchers out west and up through the mountain states and in the northern plains are not keeping many heifers back, and most of your heifer buyers on those big string sales are feeding those heifers. So we've got we're not going to have a supply problem at all. In fact, the supply is going to be on the market side here for the next few years to look forward to. So pretty bullish over the next 3 to 5 maybe years or so. But your heifer slaughter year to date's up 8.2%. 5-year average, your heifer slaughter this year is up 9%. Also, we're hearing lots of stories about Canada being kind of short on their calf crop. As you remember that bad drought that we had last year in North Dakota and up in Montana, that obviously went up into Alberta and some major cow-calf productions in Canada. Talked to some of my buyer friends up there, and they said that the number of feeder cattle and calves that are in available hands are really short. That's why they've had to come down into the United States and buy some cattle off some of the big auctions like Northern Video. Supposedly 20,000 of those Over 100,000 head went up into Canada to feed, and they'll stay up there and they'll slaughter up there. Those are all program cattle, and they've got some good programs at their packing plants up in that country. But a lot of get 'em type orders those Canada buyers are talking about, especially trying to get some lightweights put together because they feel like they're going to be real short of cattle on feed as we move into the winter. But a big video that's happening this coming week right here. Western Video Market's having their Cheyenne sale Monday and Tuesday. Got over 60,000 head of cattle on offer, got over 20,000 head of sheep. But check into Western Video in Cheyenne at the Little America there. You can watch that on Dish Network. You can also watch that on dvauction.com. You can view and bid on the sale right there, or go to Western Video Market's website and you can tie right into that console. But don't forget and miss out on the Western Video Market sale in Cheyenne this Monday and Tuesday. Look at the feeder cattle markets, real-time index late in the week off Beef Market Central, sitting at 150.48, up $1.77 for the week. And your sales were mostly steady as we went through the middle part of the week, but then after the board was up big on Wednesday and then continuing on, and then really any Friday auctions that we had, and we did have several and had some specials late in the week, they were really good. But mostly steady through the week on your feeder cattle, turning $2 to $3 higher late in the week. And you guys that own auction markets or manage them, and you're thinking about you're wanting to get a lot of big strings of cattle into your sale, you're wanting to sell those cattle really well, I got two words for you: auctioneer contest. That always is a good way to market a lot of cattle, pull some cattle out of the bushes. I've seen it happen countless times here in the States. I've seen it happen a few times in Canada. Now you can see it happen even down here in the Great American Desert. The King of the Ring special and auctioneer contest at Winter Livestock in Dodge City, Kansas. 6,800 head on offer there as on Saturday. Great sale, just numerous loads, countless pot loads of cattle, just one after the other featured on that sale, and guys know that that's going to be a hot sale. You look at this report that come out of Cattle Market Central there. Look at all those cattle they sold, over 2,500 head in the 8 to 900 pound group, averaging 847 pounds, well over our index levels, and that's 8 to 900 pounders, and your index is based on an 800 pound steer, but over 151 there on the weighted average on those. My good friend Russell Sleep, he's been knocking on the door on a lot of these contests, and he's won some smaller ones, but from Bedford, Iowa, Russell Sleep, I watched him get started there in the Maryville, Missouri market, and he definitely earns everything that's coming to him. He's one of the Midwest's best cattle auctioneers, and knows what he's selling. He's not just sitting there going through the motions. But another individual quote we'll talk about on Friday in Lexington, Nebraska. 180 head of 943 pound steers bring 155.10. And that's your look at your week's markets from a home office here in Canyon, Texas. We'll talk to you next week.